bam. Hey, what's going on YouTube? So I'm going to bring you another video today of the New York Giants and some of the things that I'm recognizing and some of the patterns that I'm seeing for us to make better bets in the future. So no further ado, let's talk about it. So with the New York Giants, I have a under 44.5, and they definitely need, after looking at all the points, 8.5. They need plus 8.5 for the season. And this is one of the problematic teams of last year coming into this year. And what I mean by that, they had wide receiver injuries, they had fumble problems, turnover problems. Daniel Jones, the quarterback, he turns over the ball a lot as far as interceptions and fumbles. If you clock him when he first came into the league, he's been putting it on the ground since he came into the league. Now, you could credit that to the offensive line, whatnot, but you still have to hang on to the football. You can't have those costly turnovers. But let's get into the numbers. And I want to start with their wins. Something very interesting that I recognize. The Carolina Panthers, Vegas, and the Philadelphia Eagles, they all had look-ahead games. So Carolina, I think they faced the Falcons. Vegas, they faced the Chiefs. And Philadelphia faced Washington. I believe Washington was a harder opponent. They felt like, we can give away this game. Well, no team gives away a game, but again, they had another divisional game, and everybody knew by this time, week 12, that the Giants, they weren't really a threat. So with that being said, this game, the New Orleans Saints, they won against, and I'm trying to figure out why. That's their first win of the season. So I thought to myself, I said, well, this first win of the season, this was a must win. Heading into week 4, they had to win that game. So I accredit that win to them not winning any game up until this point. So now, since we have new information, let's see if this information is accurate moving forward. If you have a team that has been on a losing streak, let's see if week 4 is the icebreaker, week 3, week 4. Let's look at those weeks for a team to win in the in the week 3, week 4 region, should I say. But let's go ahead and let's get into the totals. As we can see, most of their games went under 44.5 points. Even lower, there is only one game, and that's in week 16. And like I said, anything after week 14 gets a little crazy. I'm going to have to do another video on week 14 by itself as far as numbers is concerned. But going back into this, you have 44 points against the Eagles, again a divisional opponent. So what are some games we are looking to avoid? That's the key here. So we have the Rams. Obviously, the Rams versus the New York Giants. They're not going to roll over and just take it. Obviously, the Giants is going to try to fight the best way they know how. And I probably have to look at the box score with this game to figure out, all right, if they scored late in the game or early, depending. And also they went over 58 with the Chargers. Chargers is one of those teams that lights it up. But as we can see, the Bears, I'm expecting the same thing from when they play the Bears this year. Miami Dolphins, maybe a little higher than 29 points in Miami Dolphins. Obviously, Tua was hurt. He was playing with fractured ribs. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that game, I have to say that game probably was a blowout early. You have to go with Tom Brady, and they didn't want to make, I guess, the coach look bad. Maybe not. Also, we have the Chiefs. And again, with the Chiefs, if you go back in my other videos, Edwards-Helaire was out, and they changed their philosophy to more of a slow-paced team. So that explains why they didn't score over 40 points when it came to the Chiefs. And as we already talked about the Rams, Falcons, do we really expect that to be a high-scoring game? Giants and the Falcons, no. Denver Broncos, the same thing. Do we expect that to be a high-scoring game? No. But in my last video, I did say that we have to go, and now we have to look for the trend for the first 2 weeks. I think the first 2 weeks are the most important weeks as far as totals. I think teams will go over the total more than under. So as we can see, week 1, 40 points. I have to look at the spread. I didn't see what the spread was week 1 for the New York Giants or Denver, but I think 40 should be the range, and if you tease that down, you probably would have hit it. And as we can see in week 2, Washington and New York teams is pretty much on the same level. As we can see, 59 points total. So I'm sure the New York Giants had a few injuries after this week 2. I'm gonna have to look at it. I didn't do that much research. I'm kind of low on time this today, but in my next video I would definitely give you that information. And also we have the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys was lighting it up since the first game of the season when they faced Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in the same division, so they were just pouring the points on. Also, you have, again, week 4, their first win, they went over 48 points, which is very interesting. And it's not surprising that they did go, because if you're going to beat the Saints, you have to go over 48 points. But in order to try to avoid that, so if we think that the New York Giants, if they're going to repeat the same trend, lose their first 3 and win their 4th, then we have to assume that they may score over 48 points. But we might miss some of these games as far as the probability is concerned. Trying to avoid and take less risks is very, very hard. So I'm gonna try to do my best moving forward here. Also, again, the games they won, -6, -22 points, which they did blow out the Carolina Panthers, -7. So if you think that the Giants is going to win, and they're more likely to win with a team that has a look-ahead game, who is, more likely to win against a team who has a look-ahead game, maybe later in the season, or let's say in the middle of the season, week 7, week 9, as we can see, and then week 12, I think we can look to say that that is a good trend to recognize and to definitely keep following. Now, here is another thing. The divisional opponents, as you can see, they only won once against the divisional opponents, and their divisional opponents are extremely hard this year. And the New York Giants did not have major changes, just so you know. The rest of their opponents have major changes, so I think the Giants is going to finish last in the division again. Now, is it probable? Absolutely. So here we go. As we can see, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. We have, which had a #1 receiver in A.J. Brown. We have the Dallas Cowboys, who are going to compete again. They still have good wide receivers and a good team with Zeke, and that defense did take a little bit of a hit, but not that much, and they do have a promising defense. And Washington football team with Carson Wentz, who's already been in this division and know what to expect. So with that being said, I do think the New York Giants are going to finish last. So let's talk about the opponents. So we have Tennessee Titans. I think that game's going to go to the under, and that the Titans is going to pull that game out. Again, now we have the Carolina Panthers. I'm expecting the same thing as last year. Let's see how they did against the Panthers. They went under the total, and I'm expecting them to go under. But again, these are the first 2 weeks, so if I have to pick a game that may go to the over, I have to pick the Titans. And the probability that they will go over is high, because I think they're going to be more of a run-heavy team. Carolina, actually, you know what? Carolina may light it up. Carolina and the Giants. It's going to be interesting with these two teams, because, Titans, they don't have a #1 wide receiver, and if they do have good corners or D-backs on the Giants side of the ball, I think there may be a issue. But now you have the Dallas Cowboys. I'm expecting the Cowboys to light it up. I'm expecting that game to be under. Green Bay Packers, I'm expecting that game to go under. The Green Bay Packers, as far as time of possession, is the lowest in the league. That was from last year with Adams. So I'm expecting that game to go to under. Same thing with Baltimore, defensive heavy game. Jags, that may go to the over. It may. Seattle Seahawks, we have to figure out who the Seahawks are this year, what kind of identity they have without Russell Wilson. So I'm up in the air with that one. I'm not really sure what to expect. So that's going into a bye. Depending on how they do it, if they do have maybe 2 wins, I'm expecting them to take a break this week, but not necessarily. Houston Texans, I think the Texans are going to be a little better this year. They do have some good pieces. They have Cooks. They drafted a #1 wide receiver. That offensive line is heavy. They got Maryland Mack. He was a beast with the Colts before he got hurt. And they did draft, I want to say they drafted a halfback. Don't quote me, I don't think so. I think that was Buffalo who drafted Cooks, but I think Houston drafted a halfback. I'm not really sure. But they do have some pieces as far as Houston is concerned. That's not going to be an easy win whenever they play. And I'm expecting the rookie quarterback to be a lot better this year. And he didn't do too bad last year as far as the Houston Texans is concerned. Now you have going into the Detroit Lions. I'm expecting the Detroit Lions. I'm expecting this game to go over. I think the Detroit Lions can pick up points if they are not injury riddled like they were last year. You have the Dallas Cowboys. Again, I'm expecting that game to be high. Same thing with Washington with wins. And wins already know what to expect. Eagles, I'm expecting those games to be high. The Vikings, same thing. Colts, I'm expecting that game. I'm expecting Colts to have a little more playership. This is going into the late weeks, and then obviously you have the Eagles, but I'm expecting that game to be low scoring as well since we're past week 14. So some of the key notes. There are some key numbers that I was looking at that was very interesting to me. That was 8.5. Turns out that there's a lot of games that go over 8.5. Points as far as teams winning, and a lot of games that go under 8.5 and 48.5. There are more games to go under 48.5 than there are to go over. But that's the information I have for you guys. I hope you like, subscribe, and share, and keep following me on my journey. Let's see how we're going to do this season. I think what I'm doing here will break records. But like, subscribe, share, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I'm going to probably do Jacksonville my next video next week. All right guys, appreciate you guys. Later.